Hello and welcome to the Berkcast, the How to Train Your Dragon podcast. I forgot how much I enjoy doing this intro, and yet I'm pissed this is the reason. I'm your host, HC, and with me is.
Wolf.
And you know why we're here. You know what we're going to talk about. You saw the thumbnail. You know
Yeah,
the thing.
we're gonna talk about
You,
the new Nine Realms trailer,
don't give them ideas, please.
the live action Nine Realms.
You know,
You got
it's
to admit,
sad.
you kind of
It's
wish
sad.
that was the case.
It's sad that I was about to say, you know what? At least it's not that. But okay, in case
You
you
got to
haven't
admit,
heard,
you kind of,
in
you
case you,
kind of would, you kind of would be interested in a live action Nine Realms. The train wreck that would be.
oh, not the time, not the place. But
Fair.
anyway, you know why we're
Yeah.
here. A new trailer and poster have been released for the live action How to Train Your Dragon remake, which
Yeah,
is
the official trailer.
yeah, which is the movie is now of like 4 months away. So I think after this, w- my bet is that we're either going to get one more trailer and then it's the movie itself. So now, as opposed to the teaser trailer, this one you can actually tell what the plot is, even if you haven't seen the movie. So we have that. But before the trailer itself, can we talk about the new poster for a second?
I haven't seen the new poster. I don't think
It's basically the thumbnail.
it's basically the thumbnail. Okay, so I have seen the poster.
The poster is just, obviously, the it's less wide, but this is essentially the poster, and I
Mhm.
don't mind the idea of the poster, but look at Toothless's face and tell me that's not every fan's face when they hear about this remake. It's that uninterested, completely done with life. I am firing my agent, rest in bitch face. And I kind of love it for all the wrong reasons because this is exactly the face I have whenever this movie is brought to my attention.
Listen, he's just focused. He got given like a good role, and he's
That's not a look of focusing. This is a look of why am I doing this? Why are we doing this
no,
again?
no, no. That's a look of focus. He's like here for this. He likes live action How to Train Your Dragon.
Who are you kidding? Besides yourself.
I'm having fun.
I'm glad that you do, but
Listen,
okay.
I like the stylization. Like speaking to the quality of the poster itself, I like the stylization of it. I enjoy that. I think it's like a good poster.
Now, again, I like the idea of the poster, and if anything, I think the original has a DVD cover which is basically this pose,
Mm,
like in terms of like the way Hiccup is sitting on Toothless and the way the wings look and everything. I think
mm.
there's a DVD with a similar idea of the original movie, but it's just that Toothless's face just stuck out to me because he looks so done. He looks so freaking done. And I sent this to a friend of mine, and he said, this is the face of a star who is going to fire his agent."
Listen, he was
And
out. He retired for 14 years, and they brought him back for this
14
shit.
years, 14 years, what are you talking about?
2010 is when the first film came out.
Yeah, but so you are implying that there was a different Toothless for the sequels, and
I
it's the Edge.
mean, one could argue.
Okay, we're not going to get into this discussion, but yes. So this poster is one thing which I just wanted to point out because that face just killed me. I was laughing so hard when I saw that. Now for the trailer itself, and for the record, as we said with the previous trailer, we're going to say this again. This is just thoughts on the trailer so far. There's a very good chance that once the movie is out, we could be completely eating our words. Okay? But this is still a How to Train Your Dragon podcast. This is a discussion. And in terms of what we're seeing right now, if I have to just give you a quick thoughts thing before we delve into this. Still not impressed.
See, I'm the opposite. I wouldn't say I'm
Okay.
impressed, but I'm like looking at this and I'm like, all right, this looks like it'll be fun enough. I'm here for this. Let's go. Like, there's definitely some things that I can see that, like, all right, I can see where the live action doesn't quite work as well as the movies. Like, that was always going to be the case. But I think I came into this with very low expectations to none whatsoever. So I'm watching the trailer and I have it playing right now in the background. You can't hear it, audience, by the way, because that would be annoying. But I do have it playing in the background right now, just kind of watching through it as we're talking as well. And like, I'm looking at it and I'm like, you know what? I'm okay with this. This is, maybe a little bit better than what I expected from How to Train Your Dragon live action. So I'm here for it.
For the record, when I say I'm not impressed, it doesn't mean that I think the trailer is absolutely shit. But it's still not doing enough to tell me that this is any different than what I expected it to be.
Fair.
It still looks like a shot for shot remake. It still looks lazy in terms of we've seen this already. We've seen this movie, and from what it seems like, oh, and we're going to talk about something later. And uh, I'm saving it, but I'm just looking at this and it's like, yeah, it's How to Train Your Dragon. I assume it looks the part. Toothless still looks all right. The other dragons, we see a bit of Stormfly and Hookfang in this, and they look as good. I get there's something about Hookfang's face that looks a bit off to me. I can't tell
Yeah,
you what
Hook
it is. I
Fang,
think
I
because
saw that too. Hook Fang looked a little bit weird, but I kind of figure that's just down to like the animatronics and the
I
practical
guess
effects stuff. And because they're
because I
not
tell you
doing
what,
CG. Well, they might be doing they're doing CG, but not like it looks like they're doing more practical effects than CG.
but forget even just that though, because again, one of the things we talked about in the previous teaser, when you look at Toothless, it's essentially the exact same design,
Hmm.
just a realistic take on it, right?
Yeah.
And it's not changed that much, if at all. It's
Hmm.
Toothless as we know him. With Hook Fang, though, it feels like suddenly they realized, you know what, this is probably too cartoony, so we need to make the face a bit more lizard-like, and that looks a bit weird. I assume you agree with me on that.
Um,
Probably.
Let me get to the scene and see Hook Fang here.
Yeah. I'm looking at this right now. It's like that because I think it's again, it seems like that suddenly they realized, yeah, we can just copy and paste those designs. So suddenly, the face is a bit shorter, and and I think also just everything looks a bit more proportionate, which is probably why it looks a bit off.
Yeah,
But
yeah, you can tell like the neck. Yeah, like the neck's a lot thicker than Hook Fang's neck, right? And the
Mhm.
jaws a lot different. Like you don't have like the big underbite, you know.
Which again, I understand why they would do this. This is not to dig on it or anything. I get why it makes sense if you're going to
Hmm.
try and make them look realistic, but then you look at Toothless, who looks exactly the same, kinda.
Well, yeah, we can't change
So,
Toothless.
and I get you, we can't necessarily change Toothless, but then I'm also thinking that maybe it's just that by definition, Toothless doesn't have much that you can really change with him to make him look
I mean,
more like
you could give him a
because
white spot.
no, no. But you say that, but I know you're saying this as a joke to piss me off. But
I am.
jokes aside, though, it wouldn't necessarily change something in terms of like the physique of him. You
Oh,
get
man.
me? Because let's assume if I saw a real life human being sitting on Hook Fang's neck, I know that neck is not there. That neck is broken. The dragon's dead.
Yeah.
Now, now when I say it like this makes more sense for someone to be able to ride on.
Yeah, and you had like in the yeah, it Hook Fang from the movies is definitely more cartoonish, more of an animated character as far as proportions go, right? Like it's
Yeah,
not, it doesn't feel normal, but you don't care because it's animated, so it doesn't bother you at all.
yeah,
This makes it
and
seem more normal, but it does feel more off because of that. But I don't think that's inherently a bad thing, right?
no, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm just pointing out that, at first did look a bit off to me. But now that I'm looking at it a bit more and talking about this with you, I'm like, okay, I guess I see why. But then I'm also thinking, then why is Toothless just the same cartoony thing that he always was, only with realistic proportion,
I
with the
mean,
realistic
Toothless was
scales
already
texture?
designed in a way that it did. I don't know, like again, they're not going to touch Toothless because he's like the face of the franchise, right? Like he's the money
I guess.
maker, so you can't
Mm,
change too much up there physically. I feel, but at the same time, I will say like I think Toothless is a good enough design that if you saw it as a real thing, that it feels natural enough. Maybe I'm wrong in that. Maybe actual artists will come in and say, no, and fair
I
enough.
but now that I'm looking at Other Dragon, because we also see Stonefly, we haven't talked about her. And
Hmm.
Stonefly again, she looks relatively the same, but
Yeah.
it's still and again, I think there's something about the way she breathes fire that maybe looks a bit off to me because I'm used to to the show and the movies too much. But
Mhm.
otherwise, it's Stonefly. It's just the more realistic texture on her, which is not a bad idea. All things considered, again, I recognize her. Um, for the sake of a joke, I recognize her more than I recognize Astrid, but that's for later.
I mean, I'm
So
fine with Astrid being different.
no, again, I
Just
have no problem with her looking different.
I'm
Okay, and I
surprised you
say
didn't
this.
point out Rough Nut
Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get
because that
there.
one was like, huh, that's supposed to be Rough Nut. All right.
We'll get there, but if we're on the dragon side of things, then yeah, Stonefly looks like Stonefly. Toothless looks like Toothless. Hookfang is the only one that looked a bit weird at first, but now I'm getting why. I understand why, but now I'm also thinking then you would make this change but keep the other ones the same. Again, it feels like they kind of want to have their cake and eat it too,
Mm.
to some degree. And from what we see we see a zipper bag flying around in that big shot that we also had in previously, and then I'm also thinking, so you will fix Hookfang's neck, but these necks are the same. Okay.
It
We haven't
definitely
seen the
seems like they
Grunkle
wanted
yet.
to like we've seen like distant shots of a Gronkle, right? Like in the background
Yeah.
of some of like the big dragon shots. Even in the past trailer, I think we got a
Mhm.
bit of a Gronkle, but
Yeah, and but again, it's like the big thing. So we see a Grunkle the same way we see a Zipper bag, essentially.
yeah.
So
So
I
we've
guess.
not gotten full on shots of a Zippleback or Gronkle yet, so we don't fully know how they look. That'll be like the
Hmm.
the big reveals, I guess.
Yeah.
They're
So
saving the Gronkle
now,
and the Zippleback for the movie.
I suppose, or
Yeah,
maybe in the
because
next
those are the
trailer, you may
dragons
never know.
people like the most.
Yeah, of course.
God,
Um,
I'm just sitting here now
so
thinking like they gave us a movie Sonic design of Toothless.
you know that I
Oh,
literally made that
I know
joke.
you did, but like I'm just
And it
remembering it
wasn't even as a
again,
joke.
and I'm
It's not
remembering the
even as a joke.
design.
I said that it was my biggest fear of this, that we're going to see this trailer and they'll ugly Sonic Toothless, and I'm
I
like,
kind of wish
no,
they
I'm not.
did though.
No, I don't, because I'm a normal human being.
It'd be funny.
It will be funny, but not. But it will be. But that's the thing. It will be funny as a joke, not an actual attempt to make a remake with the same director.
Artists, get on it. Give me ugly Sonic Toothless.
Like you see, if an artist does it for a joke and where it will be like on DeviantArt or something, you know what? Give us something like this. I would like to see your rendition of that.
Dean
That's
DePloy,
your.
Dean, Dean, get on this.
No, Dean, no. You have disappointed me enough,
Listen,
but we'll get there.
you did say one of your criticisms was that why keep Toothless the same when you're going to change Hook Fang? That's weird. So I'm giving Dean
I
an option. Dean, you can ugly Sonic Toothless, and that way you've changed him physically. Now he's different.
so so this movie is coming out next year now.
No, he'll just save it for the second movie. Like, what happened to Toothless? Why'd he
No.
change?
Okay, you know what? You know what? I'll tell you what. Not in this, and not in the sequel. But if they do Hidden World, make the Light Fury look like it.
Oh,
Wink, wink.
no, 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 no.
And,
If they ever do Nine Realms live action, make Thunder look
they
like
don't
it.
need to. They don't need to even try. Thunder looks hideous as is. What are you
But
talking about?
why not play it up even more?
Yeah, I know. Okay, you know
Why
what?
not go
If they,
all the way?
hopefully they will never, but
I I hope they do. I would love it if they did.
you have some weird ones in life, buddy.
Listen,
Just
it would make someone extremely upset, namely you, and that makes me happy.
you see what I have to deal with here, people? This is my co-host. He wants my suffering.
just a tiny bit.
Oh my god. Okay, you know what?
No, but
All angry hate mails to that guy.
I do
So,
have a
oh,
comment though. Like,
yeah,
it, I really don't know what they would change up if they didn't do a shot for shot remake. Like, it's kind of expected, right? Because it's the safe
and
thing.
that's kind of the problem with where I make it to begin with.
I mean, fair, right? But like, what would you want them to do differently?
Okay, here's the thing. It's not necessarily that what I want them to do. You know what? This is the point I wanted to discuss later. So let's talk about the trailer and then we'll get to it.
Sure,
Okay.
we can hold off.
Okay. So
Gonna tease you
so
for
again,
later, audience.
as we said, you can basically tell this is a shot for shot, and all the stuff that's not necessarily shot for shot is mirrored. Hiccup walking through the forest, that's mirrored.
Yeah.
The point where there's even a scene, we see that we saw that in the previous two where Toothless like inches towards Hiccup, supposedly in the Forbidden Friendship scene. That's mirrored. All of that. And then we like Hiccup reading the book looks a bit different, but it's the same idea. And then again, when we see Stuick in the ships when they're looking for the nest, that's mirrored. It's I get. You
They
know what? We
did the
should call this
fog a bit differently,
how
but
how to mirror. This should be called how to mirror your dragon.
they did the fog a bit differently. It feels like it just
Hmm.
feels like a much different thing than what that felt like from the movie, like when they sail through the
Yeah.
fog and everything. But
Which again, I think this is just the because things are going to look a bit different in live action compared to
well, it
animated.
just makes me question, like, where the fuck is Burke? Like, what is this fog ass wall shit, man? Like, it's fucking crazy looking. I
Well,
kind of like it
I
though.
think I get we do kind of know that that it's somewhere in
I
the
mean,
place of like
listen, this is How to
Norway
Train
or
Your Dragon. It
Norwegian.
has like, a whole hidden world under the ocean where there's just a whirlpool in the middle of the ocean somewhere that then got covered up
Yeah.
over time and moved
Hmm.
out into like the middle of Canada over time somehow. So I'm not like
Yeah.
I shouldn't question it that and in this world like a meteor came close by Earth and didn't destroy it and everyone went crazy.
Again,
I shouldn't
okay.
question it that much.
I know that we have 9 realms now, but please let's not bring this up too much. Thank you.
Fair. I can't not.
So,
It's so
mm,
easy.
I
But
know that
I
it's
shouldn't
easy,
question
but
it too much. But I do like the visuals here.
and so this is the other thing I want to point. So we see there is a quick group shot of all the characters. Like we have Snotlout and the twins and Astrid and Fishlegs. Um, you mentioned Ruffman before. I kind of agree with you that it's not that she necessarily looks bad or anything, but
It's just
she
different.
and Tufna don't look like twins though.
Yeah, like the lankiness of them both was what I felt like kind of made them And maybe that's the wrong way to take it, but I don't know. Like that's the thing that like signified them the most was both of them being very lanky and having that
It's
similar
not,
hair and
and for the
everything.
record, if you don't want them to be lanky, that's completely fine.
Yeah, no, nothing
It's
wrong with
not the
that.
body shape.
That's not
It's the
the issue. Let me be clear.
Yeah. What I don't get is that Tough Nut looks, I guess, Tough Nut looks as identical you could make him, but Rough Nut doesn't.
Yeah,
And that's exactly what I said a long time ago with Hiccup and Astrid. Hiccup looks somewhat similar, but Astrid looks completely different. So which one
and
is it? Are we trying to make it? Are we trying to do a different take with a different look for all the characters, or are we trying to make them look as close to the original as possible? It's not this middle ground
yeah,
is not working.
that is weird. There's definitely been this like, and since you pointed that out, there has definitely been this like, we're gonna make all these things look the same, except except Hook. Fuck, what did I say? Except Hookfang, except Rough Nut, except Astrid, except this other thing and this other thing. And let me be clear, there's nothing wrong with the actresses they chose, right?
No,
Let's
not at all.
cut that shit out right now. Let's not even dive into the stupid bullshit of it's not the exact same. She doesn't have blonde hair, blue eyes. She's this race or whatever. Fuck off. No one gives a shit. If the actress can play the role well, I don't give a damn. Let's be clear. It's just
Yeah.
different and it's just odd that you've picked we want all these things to be the same, but these things we're going to change up. Like why? It's just this weird, like you said, it's this weird middle ground of like we're going to change all these things, but we're not going to change these things. We're going to keep all these things the same, but we're going to change these few specific things.
And
What is
again,
the
like
point?
I look at Fish Legs, he looks kind of the same. I look at Snotlout, he looks different. I'm like, so again, which one is it? There's no, again, it feels like there's no one direction here. Things just felt like a different group of people just did whatever, and Dean was like, all right.
Now, I will say like this doesn't matter for actors and actresses much. Like I don't care too much because like if this is the actor and actress that fit the role the best, whatever, run with it. But
Again,
it's still
this is
weird
not to
because you could
dig.
still use practical
I will tell you that
effects and other thing like costuming and things like that, right, to make them look more similar.
For the record, I think I should. This is not a problem with the actors.
Yeah,
This
no,
is a
we're being clear on
problem.
that. It's not.
This is a problem more with the art design, if anything.
Yeah, like the
Like
costume design, the art direction,
makeup,
the makeup.
costumes, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because I look at the arena, I have the frame paused there, and like, yeah, the arena looks good. Like
Mm-hmm.
if there is this How to Train Your Dragon thing that they have in Universal or about to have in Universal.
Mm-hmm.
If they just did that, I would be like, holy shit! I'm in the Berk Arena. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like it looks the part. But I'm looking at these people, and it's like, it's I'm looking at a group of cosplayers, which some look good, but some look completely off. And again, this is not to dig on the actors. I don't get the art design here. I just don't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's also a thing, right? Like it feels like even Gobber and Stoic, right, look fairly similar to their original movie designs, but then, like you said, you look at other things,
And again,
stunning.
as we mentioned, Gerard Butler reprising Stoic.
True. Which again, nothing wrong with that. I'm glad he did that. I
Again, there's nothing wrong with that, but now again, there is the everyone looks and sound like everyone maybe looks a bit similar but sound different, and then you have this one guy that literally looks like that literally sounds the same because it is the same. There's when do we stop with the differences, and when do we stop making it similar? It feels uneven. That's my biggest thing.
Yeah, it feels like it definitely has that thing of like, all right, we can kind of see you're trying to play on nostalgia. We can kind of we can we're not stupid. We can see that you're playing on nostalgia, that you are picking and choosing what you want to change, what you want to keep the same, specifically
Mhm.
because like these figures and these people and these particular dragons and this artistry is all like iconic of How to Train Your Dragon. We can't change that. But
Mhm.
at the end of the day,
And
right?
speaking of that, uh, I'm looking at Nico Parker as Astrid. And again, this has nothing to do with her skin color. This has nothing to do with the fact she's not blonde. Let's put this to the side, okay?
Mhm,
Fuck that. Don't
mhm,
care.
mhm.
But because to some extent you can also Mason something, I don't remember his name. The guy playing Hiccup, right?
Yeah.
I Mason Thames, that's his name.
Mm.
So Mason Thames may not look exactly like How to Train Your Dragon 1 Hiccup, but he looks similar enough to like maybe Race to the Edge Hiccup to some degree. I
Yeah,
look at
like a
him and I
slightly
say,
older Hiccup.
yeah, I can look at him and say, okay, he looks like Hiccup.
Still think you
Uh,
should have got
um,
Vin Diesel to play Hiccup with Jay Baruchel getting loose.
okay. Jokes aside, okay, jokes aside for this instance,
Mhm.
you, I'm looking at him, and he's essentially he looks a bit older than how Hiccup did in the first movie, but he's still dressed in the same attire as he had in the first movie, right? The green tunic, that brown jacket. It's that outfit, right?
Yep.
But now I'm looking at Nico as Astrid, and you don't want to make her blonde? Okay, sure. W- why is she wearing the same outfit that she did in the second movie? Because again, I'm coming back to this because it may look like a nitpick, but I'm starting to think that there's kind of why make Hiccup wear the exact same thing he did in the first movie, but with Astrid you just made a completely new thing that if I were to I made a test. I showed the trailer to my mom without context, and I
Mhm.
told her that's Hiccup's girlfriend, and she's like, what? So, and it's not a matter of the actress. Again, Nico Parker is a good actress. She's proved that in other projects that she's done. They just shoved her into the wrong costume
Fair.
because there are moments in the story we get to see more, like when she's saying our ancestors' war is about to become ours. Figure which side you're on. She sounds like Astrid in that. She plays the part well, and also when she's telling the Hiccup, okay, when Hiccup tells her, "I'm probably going to do something stupid," and she goes, "Good, you already did that." Again, she also has the sarcasm that Astrid would have. She's playing the part well. I'm willing to sign it. I'm willing to sign it that she's going to play the part well,
Yeah.
just from these clips. I just think that the art direction fucked her up, though.
Fair.
Sorry, that was my rant.
No,
Go
you're
on.
fine. I mean, again, it's like there's a lot of stuff you see pulled from even Snotlots Look, I think, is like a combination of one of the later movies and the first movie. Like it's not if I'm
Kinda.
like
I get
it's not
what.
fully his look from just the first movie.
Mhm. Yeah. If anything, I. That's the thing. I have we ever seen him wear yellow? I don't think we did.
No, I
Nothing
mean,
comes to mind.
I w- it's fine, just different, which again, I'm okay with you doing different stuff. It's okay to change things up, right? But
Yeah. Again,
it's
I'm
just
okay with
weird
the
that you're
changes.
changing things and then keeping things the same at the same time. Like if you want to make changes,
Yeah.
then make a bunch of changes. Do whatever the hell you want.
Like
I want something
again.
different. I don't really want a shot for shot remake, but that's what we're
Again, like
getting.
I said, that's exactly what I said. It's not that there are changes, it's that the movie doesn't seem certain on what it wants to change and what it doesn't.
Mm,
And again, going back to a quote we talked about last time, when Dean says something like, stuff that's iconic and really important, we're going to keep the same, what does it mean for the stuff that isn't the same then? It's that thing that so did we change Snotlout because he's not as important to the movie? Do the
mm.
twins not look like twins because that's not important to the movie? Is that what you're trying to say here? Well, anyway, so we get a bit more of the scene where Hiccup is about to kill Toothless, but then he lets him go. Um, One thing I will say that again I kind of like, depending on where I like the way that Toothless has slightly more weight to him
Yeah.
because
It looks like that's what they've done for all the dragons. Like they've added more weight to all of them. Like that's what they did for Hook Fang, Stormfly, and Toothless so far.
which I get because let's be honest, if dragons actually existed, they would probably be like heavy creatures and
Hmm.
everything. That I understand. So when Toothless, launches that Hiccup after it frees them, that that I actually like.
Mm-hmm.
That looks good. It has weight to it. It also interacts well. Like the Mason who plays Hiccup reacts well to it. This I actually kind of like. But then when we see though, there's a bit of a test drive near the end where Toothless and Hiccup do the spin. I think there's since it's in the air, since it's a bit more free flowing. I think there though they could have been a bit less weighty there. But what do you think?
Mm. Let me scroll through it one more time.
And again, I also see like just in general when Toothless walks around and everything, he seems to have more weight to him. Which this is actually something I'm kind of okay with. This could actually work in this instance.
The shots,
Just
we don't get enough of it, and it goes to first person too quickly, so it's hard to say. I need to see it in like
um
full motion, like the
yeah.
full motion from the movie itself. So it's hard to say as of right now because the
Yeah,
shots cut through so
but
quick.
the thing is that when it's supposed to be like when it's in the air and stuff,
Okay.
that spin looking so slow kind of took me off guard. That I'm also thinking that in the original, Toothless is supposed to be a bit more like a panther, so he moves a bit quickly. So,
Mm.
but it's a change I can accept. This is something that I'm okay. You know what? That's not bad. That's
Yeah, you're
actually interesting.
talking like it's the moment. Yeah, you're talking about the spin move they do right before we
Yeah.
get to see them flying away from the Red Death. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's fine. Yeah, definitely a little bit slower, but again, I'm like you. I'm okay with that. I don't mind,
No,
because
actually, the spin is what looks a bit off to me. This is like the one time that I'm like, maybe not there, but the idea of the dragons having a bit more weight, I'm actually okay with.
I'm fine with it because it's again, like you said, right? Like it's that more weight thing. I'm okay with it. It doesn't look off enough that I'm like, ugh, that looked bad. No, like it's fine.
Again, it's not the end of the world, right?
Mm-mm.
And again, I'll take actually a different take on the scene than, but no, because then we also get some shots from like the battle with the Red Death, which looks exactly shot for shot, and this is something that Audrey Greywind told me off mic. Some of the shots in this trailer are also taken shot for shot from the actual trailer of the first movie.
Which makes sense.
Make it like it makes sense, but it's also like, are you really, really,
Again,
really
it's
that
Hollywood, man.
much?
The laziness.
Uh, I
It's
guess.
easy, it's cheap, and it works. So why change it? That was something I was
Um,
gonna ask you. You
yes.
were someone who I believe, because there's a lot of people who are like this in the fandom. You hear this
Mhm.
all the time in the fandom
Hit me.
from some of the people who first got into it. And I believe you've said this as well. Like when you first saw the trailer for the first movie, you were very unimpressed. If I
Oh
remember
yeah,
correctly, right?
that's like my story
Yeah, that's your
there.
thing.
That's like
And tons of people who've also had that same experience where they saw the trailer for the first movie and that's how they got into it. And they're like, this looks like garbage. Chalk it up to
hmm.
DreamWorks. And then they went and saw the movie and they're like, whoa, it's not garbage. What the fuck?
Yep. That's again, that's me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How does this trailer compare? Because I didn't get into How to Train Your Dragon from watching the first trailer and then going to
and
watch the movie. I got into it
and
from the
that's
first show. So,
that's actually that's the other thing I kind of wanted to talk about once we're done with the trailer itself.
okay. I'm skipping ahead again.
Um, yeah, skipping. Sorry that but I will tell you this. I'm looking at this trailer in a different light, and I'll tell you exactly why.
Mhm.
once we are done with this.
Okay.
But the one another thing I want to say is that there's the point where Stuik and Hiccups fight after Toothless is discovered, right?
Yeah.
Where Stuik goes, they've killed hundreds of us, and Hiccup tells them, and we killed thousands of them. Uh, Again, Gerard Butler, he obviously knows what he's doing. He played this character, and the costume doesn't look that ridiculous, so that's okay. I don't like how Mason cries it when he's doing this scene. It doesn't. In the original, it sounds like Hiccup is standing his ground against his dad, right? It sounds like it. The way he screams it in the trailer makes it look like he wants his dad to buy him a toy, and Stuart refuses. That's what I get. Which again, it's not of no offense to the actor. Maybe it's a poor direction. Maybe they went with the wrong take. It just sounds way too whiny for this. This is Hiccup is not supposed to be whiny in this scene. This is the scene where he grows some balls to confront Stuick about this.
It could be the trailer as well.
Again, which is why I'm saying the movie can completely change my mind. I but as a trailer, this is something that's supposed to sell me on the thing. I'm pointing out what I'm seeing.
Fair. I get what you're saying. I'm not too bothered by it. Again, like I'm willing to say maybe it's just a trailer thing. Maybe, you know, it doesn't give like again, right? Because context can change up how you feel about a scene, right? Like seeing two people yelling at each other and just getting like this brief bout of them yelling and not having the full context of the scene, you know, that can change up how you feel about it, right?
But the problem is that we do have the context because we've seen the original.
But no, we
And
don't. We don't have the context of this film.
what's the difference?
Well, you
That's
say that,
my
but again, right?
question.
Like the context of the animated film, we have the voice acting, we have the movements of the animated film. We have that context, absolutely, sure. But we don't have the context of here. What is the music they use? What is like the backing track they use? How does, the person who's playing Hiccup Mason, how does he move within this? How is his voice sound before that one interaction with Stoic? You do need all that
That's
other context because that can change how you feel about what he's saying in that particular moment. Does
that's
that
fair enough.
now?
I get what you're saying. That's a very fair point. There's a good chance that you're right. But
Granted,
for what
I
we
will give you right. That doesn't necessarily mean much, right? Because you can still look at the trailer and say, okay, well, I still don't like this, and that's completely fair.
and who knows, maybe more context can help. But if I see something like this that I think worked well in the original, and now I see this, and it's like it doesn't sound the same. It doesn't feel right to me. I will point it out. Who knows? Maybe the final movie can change it.
But I do get
I
what you're
can't tell
coming
you.
going for and coming from. It definitely feels off for that scene from what we would expect from Hiccup from that scene if you're doing a shot for shot remake and everything.
Yeah. And then we also have we get the scene of like what you're gonna do about it. I again maybe in context it can be a bit better, but I am not a fan of how Hiccup is just chilling on like a grassy field instead of standing on that bridge looking up into the horizon where he sees the ship have gone. This is not the same. The
Yeah, that
same
one,
scene because
no, that one I'll
they
agree with you.
literally.
That one I agree with you on because it changes up the context, right? Because in the movie you see him looking out at the ocean, right, where they had sailed off to. And yeah,
Yeah,
he's
and
technically doing that here, I suppose, but
but he's looking more at I think it's the arena. The ocean is barely visible, and also he's sitting down like he's just chilling. He's not
it's
supposed to be
it's
chilling.
again, right? Like you think back to the original movie, right? Like when we see Hiccup in that scene, the camera's behind him. We see his back as he's looking out. Here we're looking at him from a side view. They shouldn't have done that. Like that's
and also
why
and
did you do
also
that
like
camera placement? Why is
and
he
then
looking
also
slightly
we see
down? This
Astrid we see Astrid walking into the frame. In the original, she only walks into the frame once we see Hiccup's face.
Mhm.
Which this is just me being like a technical film nerd thing. I'm not sure, but
Well, no, even
there
that one,
is.
I'm not, and I agree with you.
uh,
I think they've completely changed
I'm
up
I'm
that
getting to
scene.
this. I'm getting to this. I haven't made the point. Trust me.
Okay,
I'm
okay,
leading into that.
all right, go ahead. I'll let you
The,
cook
there's
for now.
Okay, so basically, when you film something like this, there is something that's called like the keyframe. Okay,
Mhm.
which is basically this is where you position the camera in a way in like a bit further away from the actors that way you can get the entire scene. You tell the actors do the entire scene, but we are staying away in the background because now we're supposed to get the entire scenery alongside you.
Mhm.
And I feel like maybe for this instance for the marketing, they used that what is supposed to be like the keyframe, that this is just the frame that they had to catch the entire scene, to establish where the 180 is, to establish something just so that they'll have a shot to play before we get into the intimate conversation.
Mhm.
I think that maybe they just use that, but it doesn't change the fact that Hiccup is still sitting in a grassy field, chilling
Well,
when his father just disowned him and took his best friend away to find the dragon's nest.
well, that
It's
and again, right? Like it just feels weird because and again, maybe this is first movie influencing opinions and feelings here, obviously, but it feels weird to me because the picture of Burke I have in my head, this doesn't
Mhm.
feel like the place Hiccup would do this at, right? Like it feels like it doesn't make a lot of sense in terms of this is how we picture Burke and this is how we think of Burke.
Yeah, I
It
see
feels
what you mean.
often it feels off in sense of place as well. Because for Hiccup, when that
Mhm.
scene happened, he was pretty much like in the Great Hall, and then he's just outside of, around in the village. Here, it looks like he just wandered away from the village and just walked off from the village. Like,
Mhm. Yeah, it's confused as to what the emotion is even supposed to be here, and we are
that too.
and again, this is something that you ask me about this, and I'm going to lead into this. This is another thing. This is another place where us being fans might change the perspective on this. But again, note that we'll get to this in a bit. Now, the one thing that seems a bit different is that this time Hiccup kind of seems to at least take the other riders with him to the arena without Astrid having to
Yeah,
call them in,
that's your
and he seems
different
to be a bit.
shots, man. We've changed
Yeah,
up the movie.
it's like suddenly we have something new to talk about because suddenly we have this moment where Hiccup starts to become a leader, and it's like, okay, this is different, interesting. Holy shit, we did something different in this remake. Hallelujah!
In before, it's not different at all.
And then we just get to some flight shot, which again the flight scenes still look good to some degree. I like the added weight to some
Again,
of it.
I will stand by this. I think their practical effects and CG effects are good for this movie. My opinion.
Yeah,
I
and
feel like
again,
they've put the work in to make it look and feel good from a viewing
yeah,
perspective.
that's indeed true. I am not sure about the Red Dead's face myself, but
But
again,
still,
maybe
though,
it's just
seeing it
but
slam through that
like
wall looks good. Like
no,
it definitely.
but that's exactly the thing. But that's exactly the thing. The design, I'm not entirely sure, but the dragons have weight. They feel like they interact. It's not just they put an animated thing out there. It feels like they really took time to consider the weightiness and how this interacts with the world, and that I
I, I
appreciate.
will tell you why I think you have an
But
issue with the Red Death's face.
why is that?
It feel to me when I first saw it, my first thought was Jurassic Park? Question mark.
I mean, it's not
It
just
feels
I.
more like a dinosaur than a dragon. Like a
I get.
like
I
there's
don't know. It may.
there's a scene
Mhm.
I forget which movie it's from, but I swear there's a scene of like the T-Rex breaking through walls and stuff. Like it's in more
I
than one
think
movie, I
I
think, but
I think maybe well, obviously, when I think of T-Rex from Jurassic Park, I think of the original. When it's
mhm,
coming out in the van scene. But
that
what
too.
you're describing, I think it's in Jurassic World, the first one.
I think it's in that one. I think there's a scene in uh, the second or yes, the second movie when
The
the
second Jurassic World or second Jurassic Park. You need to be
Jurassic Park.
specific here.
I'm thinking of like
Yeah.
the original trilogy.
The last world or the
I think so. Yeah, it's the one where they're on the
yeah,
second island and you see the dragon, but the dragon. Fuck me,
the
the
the dinosaur.
dinosaur.
When
Jurassic
it's
Park would
not
be
when it's
way
not on the
different if
ram.
there were dragons.
When oh god. Something, fan artists give a Jurassic Park with dragons. Holy shit! This is
Listen,
forget every horror movie that we're getting. We need this. This is
I
a
could
horror movie right now.
I could see John Hammond trying to do it though. Just
Yeah.
saying, I could see him trying to do
But
it if he could
I
have done
think
it.
the
But
I think the
different
last
topic.
world is the one where the T-Rex is also going on a rampage through the
It's
city at the
it,
end.
yeah.
Maybe
That's
that's one.
the third one, I believe.
No, that's the second one.
That's the second one.
With the
Fuck
rampage
me.
in the
It's
city.
been too long. Yeah, so I'm thinking of the third one.
Yeah.
Then when they're on the second island, it's the kid who was getting like was on the fence,
I
electric
haven't seen
fence.
three,
You haven't seen that
so
one? Damn it. I'm
I haven't
thinking of
seen the
that
third
scene
one.
for those who remember it. And like you see the dinosaur bust through the cage. I don't think that was a T-Rex, but regardless,
Mm.
it gave me that kind of vibes. And there's a few other scenes where you can kind of get this kind of vibe from too, but it definitely like Jurassic Park question mark. So it definitely feels more
Um,
dinosaur than dragon
could
slash
be.
mythical
Uh, uh,
creature. And I think that's why the
Though
Red
to be
Dead feels
honest,
off.
in the end, when we see it, like there's the scene where like it chases Hiccup and Toothless into the sky. That looks good.
Yes,
That
that looked
actually looks.
really good.
Mhm.
Like
Uh,
with all the fire and its wings and everything. Like, yeah, I will agree. That
yeah.
looked really good.
hmm And then we end with one more with the terrible terror scene, which, to be honest, the comedic timing on it is really freaking off.
Yeah, it doesn't fit as well as the first movie did, but that could be the
And and
trailer. So,
and also I have to say this because now I notice this when I saw this movie is coming out on Friday the 13th.
oh wow, it is.
Ah. Talk about something being dead on arrival. Oh, oh my
But
god.
what a wild day to choose to release. I mean, I kind of get it
Uh,
because they're aiming for kids, and that'll be like summer break ish for
Yeah,
America.
I get it, but like you had to have known. This is like something. I'm willing to. I think one of the Harry Potter movies was actually pushed ahead 2 days because they realized they're releasing it on Friday the 13th.
I mean, for that one, I get because like it's Harry Potter and everybody back in the day, right? Like witchcraft, rah, you know. So if they
But
release
dragons
that
all
on
good.
if they release that on Friday the 13th, I feel like people be like, "See? It is evil." So for How to Train Your Dragon, I mean, I don't know. I think it's actually thinking about it, I think it's very apt. See, it is evil.
Well, here it's we always get movies like a day ahead. So to me, it's Thursday the 12th.
I mean, you can
But
pretend it's Friday the 13th in spirit. I don't think it'll matter.
oh my god! But I just like talk about perfect timing, I suppose. So now to the question that you asked me, and we've been building this up. Okay,
Yeah.
here's the here's the thing. I uh, I tried watching this and trying to look at it as someone who doesn't know the franchise. Okay, I tried. I really tried. But here's the problem. This trailer feels like it's being marketed towards you, me, and fans of the original
Mhm.
because they need to put in the scenes that we know. They are talking. We need to know this. because and also because let's be honest,
Again, for the nostalgia, right? Like we want his nostalgia bait
it's
shit.
nostalgia bait. As 15 years is nostalgia now. Go fucking figure. But
Hey, it's better than Toy Story, I guess.
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But anyway, where was I? Something better than Moana. That's not even 10 years old. But
Another good one.
uh, but with that being said, so this feels like it's being aimed. It feels like it's being aimed at fans of the original, and I'm telling you this because if it's not, it's one of those trailers that basically gives away the whole movie in the trailer. You've seen everything.
Mm-hmm.
They showed you the entire movie.
Pretty much. It's at this point you're
So
just going to get the details.
yeah,
And I'll
and
ask you, do you think that's, in your opinion, do you think that's better than the original movie's trailer or
and
worse?
that's the reason why it's hard for me to say. Because the trailer for the original that I didn't like tried to sell me a new movie I've never heard about. This trailer tried to sell me, remember that movie that you're so passionate about and you love to that and you've seen 1,000 times? Here it is, but realistic. Don't you love it when we do the exact same thing but only realistic? Don't you recognize those scenes? Don't you love Toothless to that? I it's two different marketing teams trying to push for two different things with the same script.
Mm.
So I so in some in some cases I guess I could say the original at least made me hate it for made me not impressed for by its own standards. But this one is just like it tries to get me into it as a fan, and the only feeling I have by the end is that I want to be excited for this because I see the effort, I see the good intentions, I see that people are working hard on this, I see that there's an attempt, but I don't get it because it feels half-assed in other areas. And I just know it's the exact same movie I already love, but apparently we need it with actors now because I don't know, people don't want to watch animated movies anymore. Well, it's
Yeah,
probably
people
the
hate
case.
animated movies. We all hate animated movies. Like we've hated them for years now, apparently. Animated movies
Yeah.
are terrible. They suck.
So to your question, the two trailers oddly have a really different approach with each other, and considering this one aims for my How to Train a Dragon fan, I'm not impressed. I
So
just I see the effort, I see the love, but it's not there.
so basically they're both technically bad in their own unique ways.
Yep. but
But hey,
uh, but
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 it's
I'll ask you that.
entirely possible. It is entirely possible because the first movie did this. It is possible that the live action could come out and the trailer is just god awful at representing it, and we come back and say, "Holy shit, the live action is actually extremely fucking
That's
good."
that's very much possible, and I'll tell you better. I would be 1,000% happy if I could come on this podcast after watching it and tell you I was wrong. I would be the first to proudly declare I was wrong. They proved me wrong.
Now,
By all means.
with that said, do we think that's gonna be the case?
So, is this the point where I say that there was a tweet where Dean basically stated that the script is unchanged and they basically copy and pasted the whole thing?
I mean, expected. I'm not surprised by that.
It's expected, but also what the hell, dude? What the fucking
Wait,
hell?
didn't he say he made changes though? I
Ah,
swear there's a maybe
ah.
I'm like maybe I'm gaslighting
Well,
myself right now.
buddy,
I
buddy, buddy, buddy,
swear there was a thing he
buddy,
said somewhere that he
buddy,
was like making changes
buddy,
to the live action. I swear.
buddy,
I'm not wrong, right?
buddy.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. But that was a bit of a time ago.
Yeah, but still
There
he
are
did say that.
he also said that live action remakes of animated movies are a waste of resources that could be used for good storytelling.
I mean,
Ooh,
listen, I'll let him go with that one because, Ding gotta eat, man. He gotta get that bag. Fair. I get it, yo. We all need some cash, man. I feel you, dog. I get that.
why did you turn into Steve Buscemi in Grown Ups?
Listen, I get it, man. Dean gotta get that bag, yo. Like, I feel that. I get that.
Why do you keep talking like this?
Because Dean's gotta get that bag.
How you do, fellow kids?
Listen,
uh,
so that was again, I'm willing to forgive him for that because, like, I get it, right? You got to make money,
I'm
and
not. I'm not. It shows to me that Dean has no reason, man.
it's way worse when you do it.
I know. I know.
I can at least
We're even.
maybe pretend.
We're even though. We're
But
even.
like, for me, I look at that as a way, as a thing of the studio's going to do it regardless, no matter what Dean says or
Yeah,
does. The studio's going to
and
do it. It's going to happen.
that's
So
something. And again, that's something he said actually. The studio was gonna do it in order to get, but he said that the reason he's coming on board for this is to make sure they do it right. And like, I can respect that,
yeah,
but it also feels like it feels a bit like PR talk to make us forget.
yeah, it does feel a little bit like PR talk just to
So now there's the
make
other
it
thing.
feel more legit, right? Like make the movie and everything feel more legit.
And
Eh,
now there's the other thing that you mentioned, and he said, and this is something that I wanted to talk about. It's a pretty well known fact these days that the first How to Train Your Dragon was made really quick.
yeah,
When Dean DeBlois and Chris Sanders came on the project, they had to make the entire movie from zero in a year and a half.
yeah, because they
If
they
you've been
s-
in
they
the
scrapped a lot, if I'm not mistaken, from what the original film was technically
Uh,
going to be.
because originally it was supposed to be a very faithful adaptation to the book,
Hmm.
but I'm not sure, maybe something wasn't working and stuff. But the point is that a year and a half before the movie was released, Jeffrey Katzenberg came to both of them and told them, "Listen, this needs a page one rewrite. Page one rewrite means fuck everything that we just did. We are starting from scratch." And doing this in a year and a half, like, I am not jealous in any in I'm not jealous of any director or writer that needs to take on a project like this and do
I
it in a
mean,
year and a half.
there's
Okay,
stuff right in
it's
like the DVD and Blu-ray releases, right, where they like did things where you can see like Dean and like behind the scenes stuff. Those two look so tired in some of
No,
those
like
things.
not only that, but we long ago when we talked about the deleted scenes of the first movie, we also talked about this. That you can see that in the deleted scenes, a lot of material was reused in the final movie, and that's
Mhm.
because they probably didn't have too much time to really touch up to rewrite scenes because
Yeah,
they just had to go. A year
yeah,
and a half for an animated movie, people it's nuts. Don't like, I'm not jealous of any writer or director that has
and
to
it,
be in that
and again,
situation.
like I think that shows just how much work and dedication they put into it to get the first
Of
movie to
course.
the quality that it was as well, right? Like all
D-
praise to the animators, the writers, Dean and
Definitely,
Chris, and
definitely.
everyone who worked on that first movie.
Everyone, again, no, I'm not doubting that. That's
Oh,
like
no,
I
I know you're
said.
not. Like, I'm just like they deserve that praise once again because like that should not have worked as well as it did.
So to Dean's credit, he did point out, listen, I am proud of the first movie. I'm really proud of it. But there are things that because of the rush development we couldn't really get into. And I think he also mentioned that Astrid is one of them, which I think we've talked about is a criticism that some people have
Mhm.
of the original. So okay,
Well, like yeah,
cool.
like this should be your moment now. Let's change that
Yeah,
up. Let's do
so it's like,
that.
okay, cool, here we go, let's do that. And then we get a tweet where he says that the script is essentially a copy and paste, and it's like, okay, so what's the point? What do you are you Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde? What is going on?
Maybe he's lying? Question mark. To be like,
but
ha ha ha, I gotcha. We did change some things.
and it's like I want to give the guy credit. He directed my favorite movie trilogy after all, but I can't. I can't. He needs to prove himself again to me with this
Fair.
thing. And so far, it's not going great. Dean. On the off chance you're listening to this, I'm sorry, man, but uh,
Then you're gonna get a tweet later. Listen, I'm gonna change things up in the second movie. Don't worry, guys. And in the third
oh
movie,
yeah.
I'm gonna change things up. Don't worry,
Okay,
guys.
you know what? You know what? So hear me. We are gonna talk about that thing with the second movie later, but hear me out. This is a joke, though. Imagine if the entire movie is exactly the same, shot for shot, everything
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
same.
I'm imagining.
Only Hiccup doesn't lose his leg.
Oh, oh, that's gonna make people so
I'm
mad.
gonna if this. I'm not saying this is gonna happen because it. I think Hiccup losing his leg is probably one of the most well-known things about him as the
And,
franchise
and
goes
it
on.
means so much to people too, right? Because
Yeah, and it
like,
means a lot, and I know that it also means a lot to people, be it if they're disabled or just the idea, and also it connects them to Toothless a lot more.
yeah.
So like, listen, if this actually does happen, I am raising from my seat and I'm screaming boo.
Oh
I
man,
would even tell, you know what? I would even go with a friend who would film me do that.
that
Okay,
would be
I am
so
putting my
wild if they did that. Like, I joke about doing like terrible things in the movie, but that's the one thing I've not joked about.
Like oh wow,
Because even
you
I would be,
you heard it here first. I legit brought up a scenario which even Wolf says this is too far. This
yeah,
is where Wolf
it
draws the
is. Like,
line.
listen, I'm here for
Decapitate
ugly
that
Sonic
Viking's
and
leg.
Toothless, all right? But like taking away the disabled part of Hiccup and his journey with that and everything, like that changes up so much.
Yeah, no, that will kill the movie. Honestly, that will kill the movie.
Like, I
100%.
could, like, you could, the movie would not be great, but it could still work with ugly Sonic Toothless, all right? Like, it could work. It wouldn't be good, but you could get by with it.
You realize that
Hiccup
you when
keeping
you
his
say
leg? I don't know,
that,
Chief.
uh, I well, the way you said ugly Sonic Toothless, I'm just imagining Hiccup about to kill him. Toothless goes, meow. Oh my
No,
god.
that would be a good change if Toothless started talking in this film.
with with Dante Bosco's voice like in the Dragon Prince.
At the very, no, you gotta do it at the very end.
Yeah, no. In the remake of the third movie, okay, when the dragons leave and he would go,
Holy shit.
"Adios, amigo," and he go,
Oh, that'd be so good.
"Sayonara," he
See,
go around the
that's
Sonic
funny,
the Third. Oh my god, this is terrible. What am I doing?
but it's funny though.
It's funny, but like,
See, that's the
uh,
changes you make. You make changes that make it funny. You don't make
mhm.
changes that ruin the entire theme of the film, Dean.
And that's another thing. I have we have this friend in a Discord server we're on, who basically really hates Astrid, and he says I would forgive the remake for everything it does if they killed Astrid off.
I mean,
Imagine if they fucking did that. They don't have the balls, but imagine that.
it would be different. Again, and I think that's something we should talk about, right? Like, I wish these live action remakes, even the ones from Disney, right? We've mentioned this so many times, and so many other people have mentioned
Oh
this.
yeah.
I really do wish
We
they weren't so
kind of plug
lazy.
just kind of plug if you want a kind of a full thing. We did an entire episode talking about just the Disney live action remakes.
Mhm.
So go see that for more info, I suppose.
And one of the big takeaways from that, right, is like I just want them to do something different. Even this one, I'm fine with live action remakes, but I don't want you to remake it. I'm fine with live action, I should say. I don't want a remake though. I want something different. Give me like something entirely different set in this world that's live action, or just tell that story but in a completely different way. Because I want to see something different. Like tell that first How to Train Your Dragon story, but in a completely different way. I would love that. It'd be so cool.
Here's
Even if it's not a good movie, I would enjoy it more because I don't want to.
it gave me something new.
Yeah, I don't want to see the same movie again because here's the deal. I've got honestly, and if it's true that there is zero differences in the script, I've already got the perfect version of this, or the close to perfect version that I'm ever going to get of this, and that's the first movie.
I said it once, I'll say it again. How to Train Your Dragon 1 is probably one of the very few technically perfect movies out there.
Even though it's technically imperfect.
Yeah. Well, again, just because it has problems, yeah, but like when it comes to the
Well,
story it came to
no,
tell,
like yeah,
there is like
it's so good. Like there's very little like there's plenty of things online where you can see on YouTube and everywhere, right? Of critics, like actual critics, like genuine professional critics watching this movie and be like, yeah, there's problems here, but it's hard to complain about anything, and them just being super enthralled by it because it's that good, right?
and again, why do you think we started a podcast about it? Why do you
Mm.
think there's a fan base to this? Why do you think that we got two most sequels, all of these short films and all of these TV shows and comic books and all of that stuff? Because the movie resonated with so many people.
And it's just like to that extent, right? Like that's why I have so little expectations coming into this because I don't really care, and that's
I
sad to
don't.
say.
And now there is something that I did want to bring up
Mm.
because, and not to say that I've seen other people that are literally tearing into this trailer. Okay, I've seen people that are also still not excited for the movie and everything,
Which is
but
fair.
I've also, which is fair. Again, we've just been here we're talking about how much this isn't doing nothing essentially. But I also saw a lot of people actually saying, "We like this. This looks great."
Well,
You
that's a
know,
thing,
uh,
right? Like there is a
wait,
vast.
wait.
Go ahead.
mm,
I'll wait. Go ahead.
I'm getting there.
No,
Trust me, dude. I'm getting there.
I'll let you cook.
And yeah, so I've seen a lot of people that are actually excited for this. They are hyped for this. They are willing to bet that this is going to be the remake that would change everything in this trend. And for the record, if this is what you think, more power to you. I hope that this is going to live up to your expectations. I hope that you'll have the best time with it. Okay? Put it out there now. However, I think this is a bit hypocritical coming from the same crowd that hates on the Disney remakes because they change nothing.
True.
If you're going to stand up to the mouse for it, then you're going to stand up for Universal for doing the exact same thing. I understand that to a lot of these people, How to Train Your Dragon means a lot more than the Disney movies that were remade. I would also say that maybe besides Lion King and probably Aladdin, uh, uh, How to Train Your Dragon means to me more than a lot of the Disney movies that they did remade. Not to say that that the original movies are bad; they're classics, they're great. Okay, not to say that. But How to Train Your Dragon means more to me personally, to the same level of Lion King and Aladdin. These are the two that are big for me from the ones that were remade from Disney. But if you're going to just to accept it because it's a movie that's because the original is the movie that you care about more than others, then I don't think it's fair because How to Train Your Dragon is a movie that deserves a lot better than what we got. We can't just accept this because it's How to Train Your Dragon.
It's your fault
We
we can't have nice things. You're
no,
the no, no.
and for the record, if you are excited for this, I am not taking it away from you.
Mhm.
By all means, enjoy it. I'm happy that you're excited. But I'm also thinking, as a big How to Train Your Dragon fan, I want more because this movie deserves more. It deserves more than just getting a realistic coat of paint to me. And just because it's more appealing and not under the mouse's name, it doesn't mean we need to blindly just accept it. That's just how I see it.
That's fair.
If we're going to get a remake, I want it to be done with love, care, and I want more than just the same movie but realistic. Because if I want How to Train Your Dragon, I'll turn on my PS5, I'll put the Blu-ray in, and I'll watch How to Train Your Dragon, like I've done for years.
Fair. I do want to say something right to here at the end and talk about this briefly because you brought it up. You brought up right that there's people who like this live action trailer, and nothing wrong with that. Fair play. If you want to enjoy it, go enjoy it. I wish I could enjoy it as much as you do.
Mm-hmm.
Something we never talked about too much, but I saw a lot of it, right? When we were going and covering it and everything. And like just looking back at like it felt so different from our experience.
Yes.
But there were people who genuinely liked Nine Realms. Like they love Nine Realms. Genuinely.
Mm-hmm.
They had zero issues with it. It was good to them.
Yeah.
I find it so fascinating. And some of those people watched us cover, listened to us cover Nine Realms, and they weren't happy with us.
Well, honestly, when you put yourself out there with
No,
something like
that's
this,
fair.
that you
That's fair,
express
right?
your
Like I don't
opinion,
I don't mind that.
I
I
get
don't care. Like you say whatever you want. If you love it, love it. Again, like
it. Mhm. I
let me
think we
always be
also made
clear.
it perfectly clear. This is just our opinion. You don't have to agree with us.
Yeah.
Let's just be
But I
respectful.
I do find it fascinating, right? That these people are willing to accept this and willing to say, yeah, we love this. I would love to hear, you know, like I wish I could be you. I wish I could be you and say like, no, Nine Realms is awesome, it's amazing, and not be like, that's pretty bad. That was
Yeah.
a waste of my time. I love doing
And
it and covering it, but man, that was
we
rough.
said plenty times, we don't go into these things wanting to hate
No,
them because we love this franchise.
but again, right? Like I am going in. I'm like trying to go into the live action movie and be like, yeah, let's go. I'm kind of here for this. But at the same time, there is this thought in the back of my mind, like I don't care. Like my interest in this is zero. If I come out of the film going, you know what, all right, cool, then
Hmm.
great. I got something a little bit more out of it than what I thought I was going to get. But I'm going into this expecting like, yeah, I'm probably not going to get nothing out of this. I'll just go back and watch the first movie and be like, yeah, that was good.
Hmm.
And then
Agreed.
after watching this one to potentially get the bad taste out of my mouth, I don't know, maybe I won't though, but I hope I don't. But I wish I could go into it with your enthusiasm, right? With
Like I
those people's
said,
enthusiasm. But
yeah, like I said, just because we're talking about how much this doesn't impress us yet, doesn't mean it can change. Like
true.
again, we you know what, we mentioned ugly Sonic earlier as a joke, but how do you think I felt seeing my favorite character ever being represented by this? And look what came out of it. We have a great video game based movie trilogy, where each movie got better and better. When did it ever happen before Sonic? It didn't.
Worth saying,
So
right? Like that was something worth complaining about, right? Because like that was
um,
just
the-
awful. And
of course, but you get my point though.
no, fair. Like it definitely right. Like it's this thing of I wish the How to Train Your Dragon movie had done something so awful that we could come together as a fandom and say no, bad, and like get them to course correct right before they release the movie. But there's nothing here, as far as I can tell from the trailer, to really complain about because it's just like you said, shot for shot, it's the same thing.
And
And the
I
changes
think
they've
that's just
made
the
just
reason.
aren't worth complaining about because it's like shrug.
And like I said, the feeling I'm still left with that is that I'm looking at this trailer and I'm thinking I should be excited for this, but I'm not.
And I will say to the Snot Lout fans, maybe you're seething right now because they've changed your boy, or to the Rough Nut fans, maybe you're seething right now because they changed your girl. Let us know. Are
Yeah.
you seething? Are you angry? Or do you just go,
I,
eh? Are you
mm,
apathetic?
to be honest, I think I'm more apathetic. Again, I'll refer to my thoughts can be summed up summed up with the toothless face that's on the thumbnail right now.
Meh.
Yeah. Well, that being said, anything else you want to say, or should we
No, like
wrap this up?
we've already kind of said it, man. Like we hope this film wins us over. I'm
Hmm.
not going into it expecting that as of right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, and at the time of this recording, there's like 4 months until the movie releases, so it's kind of right around the corner. Honestly, it's really close. So
Man.
I think only time will tell
Well,
once we get to it.
I this opinion might change, but let's get it out there first now, and then we can come back to this after we've seen the
Hmm.
movie and we can give a more definitive opinion. One last question.
Yes.
Based off of the trailer as of right now, would you
Hmm.
want a second live action movie? Whether it's
Depends.
well, let's give you two options. You get the same movie, the second movie, again, the exact same, no
Mhm.
differences. Or maybe this does well enough and they say, hey, and Dean comes in, I'm making changes. We're changing up the second movie. Would you want
I
either of
tell
those?
I would say I would be up for option number two, especially
Same.
because if we are going with the idea that live action and everything, let's do the second movie as it was supposed to be with Valka as the villain. Let's go all
Mm,
out.
mm, yes, I'm here for this.
Because you know what? If the Lion King can get a prequel, which basically tells us that Mufasa is a piece of shit and Scar is legitimate, is 100% is 100% legit in killing him, why not?
Except that was bad though. But
Why do you think I made the joke? Because it's terrible. I haven't seen it, but I read enough.
it would it would be
I
funny
am
though.
not giving that movie my attention.
Fair.
Fuck
It
it.
would be funny though if DreamWorks can do something like that, but do it better with Valka and How to Train Your
Stuick,
Dragon.
the dragon trainer.
That would be funny. It's just another fuck you Disney, but like because we're always here for
Oh,
that. But um, yeah, I'm definitely down for the second. I would love that if we got like the actual Valka is evil story. Let's go
yeah.
for that.
Yeah, you know what? Because that would also impact the Sun movie then, because then we'll have to save Drago for it. So you know what? If this does well, and they do more, let's go with the original vision.
Mm,
They obviously
fair.
won't do that, but you know what?
There's a
We can.
hope, tiny hope. We can hope. We can hope.
Yeah, okay, so I think I will leave you with one more thing as a joke. Okay, as a joke.
Ready.
So we all know these days that post credits and mid credit scenes are all the rage, right?
Uh huh.
I I want either in a post or mid credit scene to have like that has Astrid in it, and she goes, you know what? I should think I should start going by my birth name, Kamikaze, cut to black.
All right. Interesting.
Obviously, this is just a joke. I'm making fun of a trend.
I
This is
I mean,
because you know what? That's another thing. You're gonna do this. Why not put some more elements from the book, right?
mm-hmm. Agreed.
They obviously won't do it, and Cressida Cole will just keep going. This is so wonderful, and then she'll cry in the corner because poor chick. But hello, you have an idea? Use that, maybe.
I am here for that. I kind of would love that.
Mhm.
If they like said, hey, we're going to use the live action films to like really just play around with shit. Man, that'd be so good. Even if
Mhm.
it's terrible, I wouldn't care. At least it's different.
Yeah, but at least it would stand on its own. It won't just be the exact same movie.
But you're right, man. They're so damn cowardly. They won't do it.
Yeah,
Maybe Dean has the pull to like say, no, we're doing this shit. I implore you, Dean, do
maybe
it. You can make it good.
because
I do.
because listen, I always say, no matter what you change, how terrible or good a remake is gonna turn out, the original is always going to be there. And
Yeah,
even if you
this doesn't
look at,
change that.
I mentioned The Lion King, okay? I absolutely despise everything they've done with that remake. So you know what I do?
Mm,
I watch the original.
it still exists. They can't take that from us.
I can be mad about the remake for as much as I want, and I have been mad about the remake for years and years, and I'm still mad about it. But there's also a solution for me.
Listen, if
I'll
Disney
just
could, they
watch
would
the
try,
original.
but currently they can't take that from us.
Hmm. So so the same thing. But so if we're going to do How to Train Your Dragon, but in live action, good. Let's change some stuff up. Let's actually play with the medium a bit.
Fair.
And it doesn't seem like they're going to do this now because we got our boy Dean here absolutely confirming that the script is essentially copy and pasted. But maybe for the future, because I can only tell you, I have a feeling this will do well. This is gonna make money. We're gonna get a sequel.
Yeah, you're probably right. It'll at least make its money back at the very least, right? I could see it.
Forget money back. In order for this to become to get a sequel, it will need more than make its money back.
Oh yeah, I'm aware,
This is
right? But
and like I think the original movie made like $500 million. I think something like that.
fair.
I have a feeling with how much more expensive movie tickets are these days, and you also have the 3D, 4DX, ScreenX, all of these other screens
Mm.
that I have today. Ticket prices are a lot more expensive now. I have a feeling this is gonna top what the this is not really. This is just a prediction. It doesn't mean I want it to happen, but I have this is going to outgross the original,
Yeah,
and
I hope
we
not.
are getting a sequel. I am not. If it's not gonna happen, then I have some. Then I'll have some more faith in humanity. But I don't know. I think this is gonna do
If it
well.
if it outgrosses the original, I'm disappointed in all of you. I'm just
Uh,
I'm disappointed in every single one
to
of
be
you.
honest, you know what? We every time we probably think we're wrapping this up, but let me just check. I'm not sure if there are any numbers on this, but let me just look something up, okay?
Sure.
Real quick.
If
Let's
this
see how
again,
to.
I want to
Okay,
reiterate.
so
If this outgrosses the original, I am disappointed in all of you.
okay, so for the record, the original How to Train Your Dragon was made on a budget of $165 million, and it made $494.9 million. So it's not like a big success, but it was profitable. There
Yeah.
was a reason to make a sequel,
And that was
right?
2010. That was the 2010s, man.
Yeah. So now I'm looking. There's no budget for the remake yet. There's no budget listed for it yet. But
Yeah,
I'm
usually
going
we'll
to
get that
assume,
information a little while after the release.
yeah, but like if I had to throw a guess on this, okay, again, this is just an estimated guess. If I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Hmm.
But so my guess is that this remake is gonna cost between 200 million and or 250 million. Okay.
Looking at a lot of the practical effects and CG, yeah, I could see it. I
Yeah,
wouldn't be
this is
surprised.
like my yeah. So this is my idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's assume in order for this to for a budget like this, in order for this to break even and be profitable for the studio, it needs to get to 500 million,
Mm.
which is basically what the original made, give or take.
Yeah.
So, and again, I'm saying this is like in the very basic of terms, right? If I'm getting something wrong, then I'm wrong.
Yeah, no.
Apologies.
Fair.
But so for the budget that they spend on this, they need to make a lot in order for this to be profitable. And
Hmm.
I have a feeling, considering when it's coming out and some of the I'm not sure what the competition it even has around that time. What's coming out in the summer?
Oh man.
Uh,
2025 summer movie releases. Jurassic World, Avatar
let
3, Thunderbolts.
I'm trying to look in around that area because if it's coming out on Friday the 13th, so okay, so at least here it's coming out in the same weekend as the new Pixar movie. and it's also like it's going to be a few weeks after, like 3 weeks after the Lilo and Stitch remake. There's also a new Karate Kid. Superman is coming out a month after. It has some competition.
Man, that's so weird. How to Train Your
But
Dragon live action, Lilo and Stitch live action.
yeah, and honestly, if Lilo and Stitch makes more money, then Dean is probably going to disappear, and we won't hear from him again. The poor. But okay, so anyway, back on topic here. The one thing that I'm thinking of, so this needs to be profitable, and considering the competition it has, either a bit before it comes out or around the same time it comes out, it has a possibility to be profitable, but it's coming out just at the same time as the new Pixar movie, Superman, a new Superman movie is coming out a month after. There's but so I would probably say it has competition, and it will probably make money, but not as much as they need in order to greenlight a sequel. However, and this is very important. What's one thing that How to Train Your Dragon has now that it never really did have in the original animated trilogy? Maybe besides the Hidden World, the Universal's pocket.
Mm,
Universal has a lot of money. They make a lot of successful stuff. They also have Illumination under them. They make Fast and the Furious. They make a lot of movies that cross a billion easily.
Universal's
They
been going
have that.
hard on that theme park uh,
Yeah, they
addition that
have.
they've added recently too. Like I've seen ads for that
Yeah,
everywhere.
they have the marketing money to spare. Is my point.
Yeah,
So the question is, are they actually going to spend it on How to Train Your Dragon and actually push this into people's faces so that there would be no other choice but to see it? That is something that I'm interested in seeing. I have the belief that yes, this is
yeah.
going to make money and it's going to be successful. How much, we're gonna have to wait and see. But like any kind of prediction, I could be completely wrong about this.
Fair.
So, anything else to add? Because I think we really covered everything we could.
Yeah, I think we've talked about all of it. Go watch How to Train Your Dragon, the first one.
Well, you need to do that anyway, for all reasons.
Mhm.
Other than that, I'm trying to think. I guess we'll talk to you when this remake is out, probably, unless there's another trailer or
Yeah,
something.
unless we get more
So,
news or they reveal we're working on the second film already.
who knows? Well, with that being said, that's all for this episode of the Berkcast. We hope you enjoyed it. What are your thoughts on the new trailer? Are you excited? Are you not excited? And do you think it's gonna fail? Do you think it's gonna succeed? Will you go see it? You can tell us all about it in the
Mm.
comment section below, on our Twitter, which is Berkcast with a capital B, capital C, and on our Tumblr, which is Berkcast Team. So until the next time, I was HC.
I was Wolf.
And we will see you all in the next episode. Take care.
Bye bye.